there. Welcome back to my channel. I hope that you are doing well today. Well, look, we are getting into reality star chit chat, and we've got so much to cover. So I'm excited to start off this day of uploads with the reality stars and all of the happenings of what is going on, more so off camera than on camera. So let's go ahead and give a quick rundown of the things that we're going to be talking about, the topics, the sharings, all that wonderful stuff. So we're going to first start off with, you see the couple on here, Harry Hamlin and Lisa Rinna, and Harry's got a few things to say. And then we're going to be moving on to RHOP's Karen Huger. You know, she's got that DUI case out there, and she apparently was trying to get it dismissed. And yeah, we're going to find out what the judge said about that. And then we're going to move on over to Angela Dean. That's right, 90 Days Fiancé franchise villain to the show, series, whatever you like to call it, who seems to think she's more popular than Kim Kardashian. Do you agree? Well, we're going to dive into that a little bit too. And then we're going to go ahead and move on over to Andy Cohen, apparently having something to say about Jennifer Aydin's maybe thoughts of a comeback onto RHONJ, as we already know what's going on there. So we'll get into that a little bit too. And then we're going to go on over to RHOA, and we're going to go check in with Drew Sidora, who's letting us know how she is not at all impressed and who she would like to see come back. And then lastly, we're going to round it up with Miss Brandi Glanville and her suit against, you know, Andy Cohen. And we're going to find out what's going on about that. So there is so much, as you can see, to talk about. I'm excited about it. Let's go ahead and get into it. I need you to go ahead and just relax. Make sure that you are coming up with whatever conversation you like and your thoughts, of course, because I really want to know what you're feeling and thinking about these sharings. So make sure you leave them respectfully and thoughtfully down below so we can have a conversation about it. So let's go ahead and get started with the first sharing. And that is with Mr. Hamlin himself and Lisa. So what is he saying about his sweet wife? Now, according to people.com, Harry Hamlin says that Lisa Rinna has transformed herself after leaving RHOBH. She's just killing it everywhere she goes. Now, she has now transformed herself into an amazing fashionista, an amazing actress. Hamlin gushed over Rinna. Now, Harry Hamlin is a proud husband, and during an appearance on Andy Cohen's Sirius XM radio show, Hamlin opened up about Lisa Rinna's life after leaving the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, gushing over his wife, the Clash of the Titans alum 72 spoke with Cohen 56 about how Rinna is doing better than ever. Now, Rinna seems like she's living her best life, Cohen said, to which Hamlin replied, "She is. Are you kidding me?" The Watch What Happens Live host went on to describe Rinna, 61, as light as a feather and having so much success in her career. "I think not being on the show has been a really nice thing for her," Cohen added. "Now, I have to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the last season that she was on," Hamlin then said. "That show was so terrifying for her, so horrible, and such an icky moment in her life that she had to say no. And by saying no and not going back, she has now transformed herself into an amazing fashionista, an amazing actress. I mean, she's just killing it everywhere she goes. I absolutely love it," Cohen added. So Rinna, who is now focusing on scripted shows and movies, left RHOBH in 2023 after 8 seasons on the reality show. She announced her departure with a resignation email on September 10th, 2022 that read, "I will not be renewing my contract and I will not be coming back to RHOBH. Thank you so much for 8 years. All the best, Lisa." Now, the Mommy Meanest actress later spoke out, being her ending her time on the show. Now, with a bad experience, saying she would not consider returning. "It has made me a better actor," she shared during an appearance on the Jennifer Hudson show in March. "I'm acting again, and I'm not kidding. You laugh, but it's true. I think it made me a better actor. I'm grateful for that show," she added later. "I'm the person I am today because of it, but I'll never go back. Nope, I did it, done it, saw the movie." Now, after leaving the hit Bravo franchise, fans mourned the loss of Rinna on the show. Were we really mourning? Oh, okay. Now, in February 2023, just after sharing the news that she wouldn't be returning, the Mommy Meanest actress reacted to being missed. She says, "I didn't expect that. I really didn't. That is the thing that was unexpected to me, the most about everything. I thought people would mostly be like, thank God we got her fired. And some were, don't get me wrong, but the majority of it was love. Even the way people describe my 8 years on the show with words like legend, icon, GOAT. I said to Harry, there are things you normally only get to hear if you, well, died." She continued, jokingly that is. And that's how it felt. Like I died, but I didn't. And I got to see all the things that people would say about me at my funeral. And of course, The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, for all of you that are interested, can be streamed on Peacock. And I do believe their franchise is coming back really soon, because we're starting to see some rumblings of trailers and all that good stuff. So that should be coming around the corner pretty quickly. So what are your thoughts about that? Now, we all know that Lisa was unceremoniously walked on out of there, right? Maybe on her own fruition, or maybe not. You know, that's to be made whether or not we know or not. But that being said, she does seem to be doing really well. I've heard a few things that she was getting into. I think she's doing some modeling, and now apparently she's now going back into acting, which, you know, she does hail from soap operas and movies, by the way. And I actually liked her as an actress. I think she did a great job. She did a couple of Lifetime movies that I really, really enjoyed. One in particular I can think of, but I think she did more than one. And she did, you know, other type of reality-based shows like on HGTV, which I really like that one. And she also, you know, comes from the Days of Our Lives soap and maybe something else. That might not be the only one. So I really liked Lisa Rinna when she came onto the franchise. But, you know, she slowly, as time went on, became really not that much of a likable person. And of course, we all know about the issue with the perceived bots or stuff that she may have gotten into, that whole scandal that surrounded her and Erica Jane. And yeah, it just really didn't do really great wonders for her in that last season. Things just got so sticky, so icky, so ugly. And people, I think, were just really over the whole thing, you know. And we all know that Real Housewives are right now going through a huge transition from different players being brought into the game, and for some being revamped and some questioning whether it will be or not. And it just goes to show you that sometimes, you know, things can go so well for a period of time, and after a while you just get tired of it. And, you know, one of the things that has been so criticized on Real Housewives, and definitely about Beverly Hills, because I think they kind of set the trend for it, is how it turned so dark. It became not fun anymore. People became less interested in the antics and just really got tired and were just so over it. So the fact that they've been able to part, and I think Real Housewives of Beverly Hills has continued to maintain fine without Lisa being there. But it's also nice that Lisa is doing what she needs to do, and everybody seems to be a win-win situation. So with that being said, you know, she can keep her private life to herself, which she did a lot of anyways, because that meant that she had to do a lot of stirring the pot. If she wasn't stirring the pot, she had to be revealing something. And there wasn't a lot being revealed after a certain point in time. You know what I mean? But if you are missing Lisa and you wish she'd come back to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, drop that down below. And if you are happy for her moving on to greater pastures, you can feel free to drop that down below as well. I would love to know. So let's go ahead and move on to our next sharing. It looks like we're talking about Miss Karen Huger and that pesky situation she's gotten herself into. Right? The most dangerous situation, or not maybe the most, but one of the most, it's up there, situations you can be in. And quite frankly, so many things could have went wrong, and it's just unfortunate that she went that route. But I think more is going to come out about the situation. But at the end of the day, you cannot be drinking and driving. That's it. You know, how many times we got to be told that? So according to people.com, apparently RHOP's Karen Huger has requested to dismiss her DUI, but that case was denied due to illegal search while detained. So therefore, she thought that she can go through with the request of an illegal search by being detained, and the case has been denied. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Now, the evidence seized in this case was obtained as a result of an illegal search and seizure. However, Huger's lawyers argued in a motion obtained by People. A judge has denied Karen Huger's request for dismissal of her DUI case. Now, according to a motion obtained by People, the Real Housewives of Potomac Star 61 filed paperwork on July 11th to suppress statements and evidence from her DUI arrest after claiming she incriminated herself during a custodial interrogation without being read her Miranda rights. Okay. So the motion claims that Hugo argued that the evidence seized in this case was obtained as a result of an illegal search and seizure. The defendant was told she was not free to leave. Hugo's lawyers wrote she was not read her Miranda warnings, indicating that the information she would provide them would be used in the filing of criminal charges against her. So on July 25th, a judge had submitted a response denying the request and stating that based on past Supreme Court cases, Hugo's roadside investigation did not require her to be read her Miranda rights. Interesting, because that's what we always hear about, right? If the Miranda rights isn't read, then that's a situation that people can call into question of getting things thrown out. We hear that often over the years. Now, the defendant's statements were not obtained as a result of custodial interrogation because some of her statements were made while emergency medical services, EMS, personnel were treating the defendant for potential injuries, the ruling read. The defendant's statements made during this time were free and voluntary and were stated out loud while in the presence of police officers. Now, additionally, statements made after the defendant was examined by EMS personnel were not obtained as a result of a custodial interrogation because the defendant's subsequent statements were made while the defendant was temporarily detained pursuant to a traffic stop. It added. Now, the defendant's statements should not be suppressed at the defendant's motion to suppress should be denied. As background, the court also provided details of what the scene of the crash looked like when officers arrived. The filing alleges officers found 2 beers in Huger's Maserati, which was off the road in a grassy area with its airbags deployed. And if you are watching Real Housewives of Potomac, in the very first episode, which is about maybe 2-3 weeks ago now, they actually showed a reenactment of what could have happened during that DUI. So it really was, very scary situation. Just watching the reenactment, it was such a very realized way of looking at that perspective. Now, officers additionally observed the driver of the vehicle, the defendant, unsteady on her feet, swaying and stumbling and slurring her speech. The documents continue to allege. Now, furthermore, the initial caller spoke to officers on scene and indicated that prior to police arrival, the defendant appeared confused and the caller smelled alcohol when interacting with the defendant. Now, Huger was allegedly temporarily detained for less than 10 minutes before being placed under arrest. Now, people did not immediately hear back from Huger's lawyer for comment. Now, In Touch was the first story to actually report this story. Now, following her arrest in March, Huger had spoke out about the incident in a statement to TMZ. She says, "Thank you for all your prayers and well wishes during this very frightening experience," she said. "I'm still in shock from last night's incident, but grateful to be alive today. With the passing of my beloved mother, grief comes and goes in waves, and with Mother's Day approaching, it has felt more like a tsunami." Huger, whose parents had both died in 2017, added, "Last night I met a girlfriend for dinner who talked and brought up some very emotionally sensitive topics. I was crying on my way home and saw a car heading right for me. I swerved to avoid the head-on collision, hit the divider, and then a tree. I'm hurt, bruised up a bit, but so grateful I'm alive. I did receive citations, one of which was unrelated to the incident, which is understandable. But what was most surprising is that the car that almost hit me just drove away." She encouraged others to understate your emotional state before getting behind the wheel, before concluding by crediting her mother, whom she called her guardian angel, and her seatbelt for saving her life. So, it is a very unfortunate situation in regards to Karen and what she is going through emotionally. We've talked about this here on the channel when it comes to, those passing and death and how people do sometimes go through their grief. At the end of the day, it's just a new normal, right? It doesn't go away. Those pains and situations associated with that passing of someone who's so pivotal in your life just doesn't go away. The emotions can come, like she says, in waves. It can come and go. Sometimes people can be in complete depression for long periods of time. It's just the phases and stages of grief for each individual. The unfortunate thing is that Karen did not maybe at this point, and we'll just say all things alleged until everything kind of works itself onto the court system, maybe didn't make the best decisions and, leaving where she was. If she was in such a state, maybe it would have been best I wouldn't say maybe, it would have been best, in my opinion, to have had someone else drive her home. It wasn't worth the impact of what could have happened even beyond. It's lucky that she did not hurt anyone else. It's lucky she did not hurt herself. It's lucky she was able to actually walk away from the situation, be it all battered and bruised, but able to walk away and make it home to her family, who would have undoubtedly mourned her if she wasn't here today. And I don't think that moment and those feelings and those thoughts are lost on Karen. Now, of course, she's going through the process, as all people who have the opportunity to do if they find themselves in situations such as these, or in situations where they're dealing with law enforcement or the law, to boot. However, I do hope that there's a lot of lesson here learned in the fact that if you are in a situation where you are drinking and you are, doing a little too much, and that you need to kind of get that planned out before. And if there's something that happens, just have somebody, take you home. And I do wonder about the friend that she might have been seeing, if that is what, she is what she's sharing. Did you not think that maybe it would have been best to have someone call for her? I mean, she says she was upset about the situation, so the emotions would have happened at that dinner. So, I wonder about that as well. But yeah, so that's what's going on with that stage of her case. And this is now just being shared, but apparently this has been going on as a process for a few months now. So I guess more to see and uncover as this goes on. So let's go ahead and move on to our next sharing. And that is, I tell you, this lady, Angela Deem, and now her, I guess, thinking she's more popular than Kim Kardashian. Let's just get into it. Okay, so according to Monsters and Critics, if you ask Angela Deem, she's a bona fide celebrity. The TLC personality is definitely a household name among 90 Day Fiancé fans. When you think of the most memorable cast members within the 90 Day Fiancé franchise, Angela's name likely comes to mind. Love her or hate her, Angela has made a name for herself in the reality television world. Now, her tumultuous relationship with her soon-to-be ex-husband, Michael, has played out for years on 90 Day Fiancé and several spinoffs. Now, Angela's fiery temper has created some unforgettable moments in 90 Day Fiancé franchise history for sure. I would just go ahead and say toxic and, darn right, neglectful in some cases, maybe, but definitely abusive. Okay, you can say all things alleged, that's fine, but it does come across, like, when is that going to end? So let's go on. Now, most 90 Day Fiancé fans would agree that 58-year-old is considered popular due to her reality TV fame, but she says her popularity outweighs that of another reality TV household name, Kim Kardashian. Now, I personally think that she probably just dropped this line just to get the outrage, maybe, or the attention that I think she so craves. So now Angela Deem does declare, I am more popular than Kim Kardashian. Okay. So Angela recently went live on TikTok, making an admission to her fans, followers, and critics. Oh yeah, she was definitely looking for a response. Now, at Mary Pants on Instagram captured these names, I tell you, a sound clip of Angela's video and uploaded it to a post captioned in one of her recent lives. It said Angela has announced that she is more popular than Kim Kardashian, with a whole lot of smiling, laughing, crying emojis. Now, I'm more popular than Kim Kardashian, Angela is heard stating in the video. She continues, and I said it, and I love Kim. I love her, but I'm more popular right now because of this situation, and I don't like this. I do not like it at all. Now, I don't know how much she doesn't like it. Let's continue. Now, Angela's social media following versus Kim's. So if Angela is going off social media popularity alone, her claim is far from true. Are you surprised? Now, on Instagram, Angela carries about 125,000 followers compared to Kim Kardashian's 360 million. To further put things into perspective, Angela has 300,000 followers on TikTok, while Kim has 9.7 million followers on the same social media platform. And on Facebook, Angela's 42,000 followers are dropping the bucket compared to Kim's 35 million followers. Now, is Angela firing back at claims Kim wanted to help Michael? Now, why on earth would that be the situation? Let's find out. It's unclear what the context for Angela's video was, but it's likely, I think we know where we're going with this. She was referring to the recent rumors that Kim was helping Michael in his legal battle against Angela. Now, after Angela filed to annul her and Michael's marriage, he filed a counterclaim to divorce his wife of 4 years. Now, while Kim pursues a career in law, like her father, attorney Robert Kardashian, rumors have circulated claiming that the Skims founder was willing to give Michael legal aid. However, Michael shut down those rumors, telling his Instagram followers that he had no involvement or interest in news related to Kim. 90 Day Fiance, of course, for those who'd like to know, Happily Ever After is currently on hiatus on TLC. So yeah, I'd like to know your thoughts on that. Do you think that Angela is correct in saying that, hey, her assertion of the fact that she's more popular than Kim is a definite? What would you think? I personally would have to say I don't think so. She's infamous, yes, but is she fully well known to everybody as much as Kim is? I don't think so. I mean, and definitely not for the right things. Now, people can have, their critics and fans of Kim Kardashian as well, just like there's critics and fans of Angela. The bottom line is they just don't compare in numbers, and it's just a numbers game. And I think that, Angela is always, really, really interested in what's going on in her own life and what she feels she is bringing to the table. And she's thinking she's bringing a lot, and maybe in her mind she is. But outside of that, the numbers don't lie. The numbers just simply don't lie. Now, I think that at this point, Kim does a lot more about releasing individuals who were falsely arrested and convicted of crimes. I don't see Michael falling in that situation, and nor do I find that Kim at this point is going to change that direction. But I guess we'll see for what it's worth. But I just don't think that Michael and Angela from 90 Day Fiance's marriage is on her Richter scale here. I just don't know if that's in her scope of concern or interest, for that matter. So, that being said, I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you think Angela's right, or do you think she's wrong, or do you think she has something? I tell you, Angela, boy, if one thing about Angela is clear, she definitely takes in the concept of making sure you compliment yourself, because if you don't, my goodness, no one else probably will. So she's got that hands down. All right, so let's move on. The next sharing we're getting into is, I thought this was an interesting one, by the way. So apparently, we all know that Real Housewives of New Jersey is going through potential reboot or some sense of change due to the very lackluster and just tiresome conditions of which Real Housewives of New Jersey has been following, with the constant beefing between the ladies, to the point that they just can't seem to get along, and of course the long-lasting feud between Teresa and Melissa that just will never come to an end. And at least at this point, the ladies are really just done with each other, and it doesn't seem to be any way of coming together. So the show has got to make some changes. Now, whether they'll get a full reboot or not is quite the question out there. Lots of speculation, but nothing being confirmed at this point. I've done a few videos on the platform regarding these things too. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look, feel free to go on the platform and check them out, and they'll give you more information about those certain specific things that was going on at that time. So let's go ahead and get into this from Reality T, where they shared that apparently Andy Cohen had denied that Jennifer Aydin's Real Housewives of New Jersey comeback claims. He says, "I wish her well." Yeah, okay. So that's saying a lot and maybe saying nothing at all. So now the season 14 finale of Real Housewives of New Jersey made it clear that this cast could not work together. Jennifer Aydin and Danielle Cabral were at each other's throats, literally. Now, meanwhile, Teresa Giudice continued to feud with Margaret Josephs and her beloved sister-in-law, Melissa Borga. Now, finally, Bravo's national treasure, Andy Cohen, promised the Real Housewives of New Jersey fans that cast changes were on the way. Well, it looks like one housewife has taken over casting duties for the franchise, or so she thought. Now, did Andy Cohen just let Jennifer Aydin go from Real Housewives of New Jersey? Well, at this point, Bravo is possibly considering a complete reboot for New Jersey. However, Andy broke down the latest rumors on SiriusXM's Andy Cohen Live with co-host John Hill. He says, "I saw a report that Teresa, Jenn, and Dolores Catania are set to return for Housewives of New Jersey season 15. Is this true?" John asked. Well, when a confused Andy asked where John got this info, John replied, "Well, it's from the illustrations, or no offense to the people at, let's see, Real Housewives Zone." So he says, well, Andy's response was swift. No, it's not happening. He replied, "No, we've made no decisions on Real Housewives." Then John revealed that the trio appeared in a photo together, and they appeared in a photo together. Well, I mean, I was in a photo with freaking Madonna, Andy quipped. But John had more tea to spill. Well, I guess Jennifer Aiden confirmed that she'll be returning while doing an Instagram live over the weekend. Now, Andy was more confused. What? Jennifer Aiden confirmed that she's returning? He asked. I guess Jennifer forgot to inform Andy. Well, when John answered in the affirmative, Andy went negative. No, no, no. We've done nothing. We've done nothing thing. I don't know what that he was saying there, but basically they have not done anything. He says, we've done absolutely, well, no. Actually, we've done plenty, Andy stated, but that's not, no. Andy Cohen, Andy continued, I wish her well. Yeah, I think wait until Bravo or I say something. How about that? Awkward. Then John again said, no shade to the site that reported on the rumor. Andy added, or to Jenn Aiden's Instagram Live. She said that on her Instagram Live. Once again, John said yes. And a shocked Andy, I don't know why he's still shocked at this point, says, wow, all right, well, I guess Jennifer needs to start prepping her resume. Oof. Now, The Real Housewives of New Jersey, all of you lucky people who want to know, is streaming on Peacock. So it's pretty interesting. At the end of the day, we do know that Teresa and Dolores and Jennifer Aiden are really tight friends off the show, not just on the show. So seeing them pick together out and about at their home turf is not really a big surprise. But, of course, everybody's on bated breath for those who are interested and knowing what's going to happen next. Now, I did hear some rumors that Jennifer Aiden, I think beyond this, was probably not going to be someone that was going to be the one aspect. But again, that was just a rumor. Don't know for sure. At this point, there's been so much negativity associated with a few of these ladies on a continuum that I don't know if there's going to be able to see a way where not more than half that cast is going to be replaced, if not the entire reboot. Now, my feelings. I personally would have loved to see the ladies figure out a way around the situation and be able to continue on together. But if it does come, which it undoubtedly will, come to replacing individuals, there are certain people that I really would like to keep on there, and certain people, I guess we'll just have to say la vie too. But I personally would not like to see a full cast reboot. I would just be okay with a couple of changes, because I don't know if I would, commit myself. Real Housewives of New York was probably lightning in a bottle at the moment. There's still concerns about how well that will continue to move forward. So we'll see how that happens as their season, which is currently airing, goes on. But, again, it's just a lot going on here. And, I don't know. Do you think that was Andy's way of saying, look, the quiet part out loud, so to speak, that we're not asking her to come back. So she might want to get that resume and find out something else she could be doing. Or do you think he's just being cagey just for the sake of the fact that, hey, they don't really know everything they're going to be doing and they want to wait and see how things go? Do you think that Jennifer could be talking with them? Drop that down in the comment section for me. All right. So let's go ahead and move on. We are moving on to Drew Sidoro. Now, we haven't seen her in quite some time, but apparently she's not too thrilled with the newbies on the RHOA. Now, that's another Real Housewife franchise that's going through so much upheaval. They just lost Kenya Moore, which was a huge loss to the franchise. You ask me. I am a fan of Kenya Moore's. Look, she's shady as all get out. I would have liked for her to have been able to stay on, but there's so much going on. And I haven't really talked much about the situation resulting, but it did go all over the place. So at some point when we get to a certain time frame, maybe when we get closer, we'll maybe do some kind of recap review of some of those things and what's currently going on at that time when the show comes back to air, because there's just entirely too much going on right now. So at that point, Drew Sidoro apparently was saying, look, she wasn't impressed by the RHOA newbies and she wants to bring back the OGs. Now, we're all trying our best to survive the Real Housewives of Atlanta drought, but Drew Sidoro just made it sound like we don't have much to look forward to when they inevitably return for season 16. The upcoming season was supposed to be a triumphant return for the once glorious franchise, with Portia Williams making a comeback along with a few new faces. Then everything went downhill when Kenya Moore left the show mid-season under questionable circumstances. Now, Bravo has tried its best to put a Band-Aid over season 16, but there's still no word on when it will premiere. Meanwhile, Drew just shared that she wasn't impressed with the new blood on the cast. Is it already time to reboot the reboot? Now, Drew Sidora isn't sold on the new Peaches. Now, for season 16, Bravo had hired 3 newbies, Brittany Edie, Kelly Farrell, and Angela Oakley. They also finally gave Shamia Morton Mahogany a peach. I hope I said that right, Mahogany, a peach after years of floating around on the sidelines. You know, she was a good friend to Portia and Candy to the show. Now, this all sounded exciting on paper, but according to Drew, none of the newbies delivered. None of them. She told Us Weekly that we have to tune in and judge for ourselves, but for now, her expectations are low. We've got some new energy, so we're going to see. We're all going to see together what they really bring, Drew explained before giving the final verdict. I wasn't impressed, Drew declared. I was just like, at this point, bring back the OGs. When asked about which OG she'd like to see make a comeback, she specifically called out some of the legends of last season's cast that got cut, including Sheree Whitfield and Marlo Hampton. We'll go figure, because her and Marlo did not get along last season. Now, just like the rest of us, Drew is longing for a bygone era of RHOA. Now, with that said, Drew promised that season 16 wouldn't be a total flop. Oh, that's really encouraging. She said Cynthia Bailey was a saving grace for her. If anything, she wants to see more of Cynthia in the future and less of these random newbies. Right. Now, Cynthia showed up, but I needed more of her, Drew admitted. Cynthia actually brought me into the group, so I was glad she was back, but we need more of her. And I agree. I like Cynthia, and I just love her balanced way of being, but you know, she was no nonsense. She didn't take any crap from anybody, but she's the sweetest person at the same time. So I like that energy of her. Now, Drew continued, she needs to take her rightful place back as a peach holder. I say amen to that. Now, there's no word on when the Real Housewives of Atlanta will return for season 16, but in the meantime, you can relive the good old days on you know where, Peacock. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, quite frankly, I agree with her, and I haven't even seen any bit of the show. I am not always a big fan of constant newbie changing interaction, because I like it when you can get a cast together and get them melding together, and then I feel more committed and more connected to that cast. When you start interchanging multiple people here and there, it becomes less interesting for me, because I don't get an opportunity to really get invested in those cast members. But at the same time, I like a good Sheree fight. I like a good Marlo Hampton quip back. I love a good, oh my goodness, Nene Leakes, you know, Portia Williams. I'm sure I'm missing somebody. Phaedra. Like, can we just bring them all back? You know, no more friends to show. Just make them the cast. You know, they can sit down, do some counseling sessions, some therapy, get it out, work it out, and let's just come back together. And then please, somebody go find Kenya Moore and let's find out exactly what took place. And if it is so that she should be gone on the show, can we just get a good check and reference to that? I'd like to know. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that? If you are watching RHOA, if you used to be an RHOA little fan, do you agree with Drew on this? Do you feel like we are missing too many people? We want these old G's back. I think Cynthia is a great choice to come back as well. And not just as a friend to the show. I love Cynthia, but you know, she's also doing really well for herself. She's been popping up on movies left and right and doing a really great job and just keeping herself out there for all of us to see. So I'm enjoying watching those movies that she's been doing lately. It's been really good. And I think she's got one coming out here real soon. I'm not sure if it's on BET Plus or what, but yeah, she's got a new one coming out too as we speak. So yeah, she's doing really good for herself. And maybe she may not be interested in coming back full time, but I wonder if maybe if you brought a couple other people back, could she be enticed to do so? So definitely leave your thoughts about RHOA. Do you think it's done and over with? Do you think it needs a full reboot? Or do you think that Drew was correct to just bring back the OGs, stop switching out new people, and let's move forward? All right, so let's go ahead and go into our next part of this sharing. And we're going to round it off with Miss Brandi Glanville and her suit against Andy Cohen, because you know Andy Cohen has been dealing with suit after suit after suit after suit after suit. And so this was one of the earlier ones, I believe. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, according to page6.com, why Brandi Glanville's suit against Andy Cohen and Bravo is on the shelf, according to insiders. Now, Andy Cohen just had a little stroke of luck because, you know, he's going through it right now with Leah Sweeney. Page Six has learned that, according to sources close to her lawyers, Brandi Glanville's case against Cohen and Bravo was sunk by the harassment allegations made against Glanville herself. Now, early last year, high-powered lawyers for former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star sent a letter to Cohen and Bravo telling them to prepare to be served with a suit over a non-famous video that Cohen sent to Glanville, joking he wanted her to watch him have, you guessed it, sex. Now, sources tell Page Six, though, the relationship between Glanville and the lawyers, that Brian Friedman and Mark Geragos has collapsed, and there are currently no plans to follow through on that letter by filing a suit. So let's go ahead and read that again. But sources tell Page Six, the relationship between Glanville and the lawyers, Brian Friedman and Mark Geragos, has collapsed. Okay. And there are currently no plans to follow through on what that letter was saying about filing a suit. So now sources in Glanville's camp are furious because while Glanville has been running out of money amid her complex rift with Bravo, they said Friedman and Geragos advised her that if she kept her head down, didn't take cash for custom cameo videos or make media appearances, she had a good chance of winning her suit. But then the sources add they suddenly appeared to change their minds and tell her she didn't have a case. So earlier this month, Glanville tweeted after a year telling me how rich I was about to be and how strong my case against Bravo is. My lawyers have decided I now don't have a case and cut ties with me. Hashtag paid off maybe, allegedly. She then deleted that tweet. But insiders on the Legal Eagle side told us that, among other things, Glanville's own legal situation had changed the case dramatically since they took it on. Since the Cohen video, Glanville has been accused in 2 lawsuits, both filed by the same lawyer on behalf of different plaintiffs, of harassment. Neither of the lawsuits are against Glanville herself, but instead essentially accuse Bravo and various production companies that work for Bravo of allowing and even encouraging Glanville to sexually harass other cast members. Bravo hasn't yet responded to the suits, and it isn't clear if the production companies have responded. Of course, we've got to change a few of these words, to keep it YouTube friendly. Now, one was filed for her Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip co-star Carolyn Manzo, and the other was filed for a man who appeared as a butler on the show. Now, Glanville has denied harassment, and sources close to the reality star say any risque behavior on her part was merely what was expected of her as a cast member. Now, these public liabilities complicate the situation and certainly did not encourage Bravo to take her claims seriously, said a source close to the lawyers. Now, we're told that Glanville is looking into alternate representation, but right now the case is on the shelf. Glanville's case was a significant part of the so-called reality reckoning championed by former Real Housewives of New York star Bethany Frankel. Now, in 2023, Geragos and Friedman wrote a letter to Bravo and other reality TV leaders, including E! and NBC, promising consequences for the grotesque and depraved mistreatment of cast members. But we're told that the faltering of Glanville's case doesn't mean that the reckoning is running out of steam already. A rep for Geragos and Friedman told us that the Reality Reckoning initiative is designed to address the broader mistreatment of reality stars and crew across multiple shows, with a focus on unfair contract provisions and systemic issues. It has never been centered on one's individual case. They added, "We remain committed to advancing change in the space and are optimistic about the positive transformations we are driving within the industry." Cohen was also accused of harassment in a February 2024 lawsuit by former Real Housewives of New York star Leah McSweeney for, among other things, talking about her breasts on air. So I also have done a couple of videos. I've done an original video that talked about the suit, as well as an update that I just recently dropped, maybe last week, I think, or a couple weeks ago. So if you haven't gotten a chance, you want to get more details within what's going on with that particular case between Andy Cohen and Leah McSweeney, feel free to make sure you go out to the platform and check those 2 videos out. Now, Page Six had reported earlier this month that a judge was set a hearing date in the case at which the court will hear arguments on whether the case should be dismissed. And Cohen has strenuously denied any wrongdoing, and Bravo says that an investigation has cleared him of any wrongdoing. A rep from Glanville didn't comment. So, it seems like Brandi Glanville is, yet put in another situation in which she's probably not going to be able to get herself out of in a way that benefits her. At this point, I think it's safe to say her career completely is over with Bravo. She's been able to kind of dip in and out from different shows since her time in Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It was kind of one of those relationships I felt that they didn't want to quite get rid of her totally because she was such a firecracker every which way. She used to have a good time on Watch What Happens Live until that altered in an argument with another individual there. And then this Ultimate Girls Trip thing was just all bad for her, just all bad. And it's just been kind of continuous. And so at this point, I wonder if her reality TV career is yet over, or she just needs to go ahead and figure out another network in which she can, benefit for her career to continue on. I do believe she had a podcast or something like that, or a series show at some point. I don't know if she's still doing that, or if she's really doing much of anything else in the way of acting or reality star activity. If you're aware of anything, feel free to drop that down in the comments below. But I do have a question for you. Are you surprised about this? Does this kind of shock you that this case wasn't going anywhere? Or do you think that, no, it seems to be par for the course for most things that come out in regards to anything that's associated with Brandi Glanville? And, I did hear of, that there may have been some issues going on with the case. And it just seemed to be a lot, of course, that was going to be poked holes in through the investigation and all that good stuff. To see that it's kind of just, kind of not going to move forward due to whatever may have happened between her and her lawyers, I think that's a bit perplexing. It does maybe show that maybe there's obviously some things that they could see eye to eye. And for the fact that she says that they finally told her, well, you just don't simply have a case. So you kind of wonder what things came out from the initial conversation over time, because it has been quite some time, I think, now, in which lead them to feel like this was not a case they could move forward with. So I would love to know your thoughts about all of these stories that we shared in this video. Definitely leave those down below in the comment section. Let's have a conversation about it. I would so appreciate it if you did. And hey, go ahead and give the video a like, because I appreciate that so much as well. And if you are new here and you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and become part of the family. Hit that subscribe button. I would so love to have you. And of course, I always say, and I always do feel that I definitely do appreciate your viewing and listening support. These reality stars are always up to something. Sometimes it's fun to kind of dip into their world and find out what's going on there. So thank you so much for being here and hanging out. Definitely have your all notification bells on as well, because I have a couple more videos dropping today. Definitely want to know your thoughts on those and, your commentary as well. So definitely go and take a look at those and leave those down below. And until next time, I'm going to bid you adieu. You take care and be blessed. Thank you so much again. We'll see you later. Bye.